Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my page 112 tag video for May 2025. And it is also my Buzzwordathon covers video for May 2025, where I pick something for Books and Lala's readathon. And if you want to skip to that part of the video, I will leave the timestamp right here. But anyway, the page 112 tag has been a long-standing TBR game for me. It was brought to BookTube by Sean the Book Maniac. It's based off of a French literary prize wherein they comprised the long list of said prize solely by reading page 112 of the books in contention. And these books were all novels, so page 112 is supposed to be around the middle, past all of the polished for editors pages. And without the context of the rest of the story, you're supposed to only be able to judge the book based on the content or the quality of the writing. So I have been using this tag since COVID to slowly whittle down my unread bookshelves while building them back up again. I have this handy dandy Books and Cats mug. It's filled with pieces of paper containing titles of my physical unread books that I've acquired in 2024 or earlier. So what I do every month with you in this video is I randomly select 3 books, then go ahead and read page 112 of all of them, and finally choose one of them to join my month's TBR. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with book number 1, something else that seems to be happening lately in past months is I'm not actually picking any of my newest books from 2024, so I'm kind of hoping that'll change. Sooner or later, I guess it has to by process of elimination, but anyway, what do we have here? It looks like we might have 2, so can I get 1 out of this? Ooh, these are sticking together. Here we go. Up Evening by Nessa Rappaport. No, we are starting with older books again. I guess it took me seriously, the mug, when I said let's whittle down the older books. But anyway, I got this a handful of years ago. I believe it was actually at a pop-up book event, but sometimes I get these events wrong. We shall see. All right, now we're going to book number 2. I'll see if I can smooth out some of these upset pieces of paper in here, but they'll just get tangled up again. But here's just one. We'll see what one this is. Not Our Kind by Kitty Zeldis, another older book. I don't know what is going on. I know I put my 2024s in that mug. But anyway, this one I'm pretty sure I got from my library's used bookstore, again, a handful of years ago now. And I've played with both of these past books on this in this TBR game before. And finally, pick number 3, my last chance to possibly get a new book from 2024 or earlier, even, although there's less of that, but I'd love a 2024. Where are they? Can I, guess without looking? Anyway, gotta pick something ultimately, so I guess I'll pick this one. Beyond the Pale by Alana Dykewoman. So there we go. 3 pre-2024 releases. This one I got from a relatively new bookstore in DC that caters toward LGBTQ literature. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know there are 2024 releases in there. Sooner or later, I will have to get to them. This month, I'm going to go ahead and reread some old contenders for this prize. You've seen me gather them from my shelves. I'll be back in a jiffy to look at all of my old footage. Stay tuned. Okay, and I'm back. And I'll start with the positive that I tend to mention during these types of cases where I've played with all 3 of these books before, so that does technically mean I have less post-production to do after this, so huzzah! Anyway, I'll start with book number 1, Evening by Nessa Rappaport, which every time I play with this book, I think I got it from the Carpe Librum pop-up, but instead this green sticker tells me I got it from my used library bookstore. Part of me is mocking the pathos of my return, but irony is extinguished by desire, which will not be tamped down by any paltry appeal to reason. The club dims until Laurie is a wraith, shadowed hair, gleaming eye, mouth engraved. He is dark, but I am ablaze, as if I have guzzled light, the reincarnation of first love compounded by grief. The last set begins. After a single chord, I recognize the song Laurie played for me in his room the night our friendship alchemized into love. An anarchy of refusal electrifies my body, scalp to soul, defying all the chastening elders who relish denunciation, who issue their trivializing edicts about maturity and acceptance and compromise. I do not have to listen to you. Don't do it, says Tam, or you. The lead singer takes the mic. It was homeward bound one night on the deep. Laurie sets down his glass. The singer wails, I dreamed a dream and thought it true. Laurie's fingers cross the dented metal of the table. Between my legs is a metronome of coveting. Stand, it says, I stand. Move, it says, and I move. Okay, so I have a more complicated, I guess, reaction to this one. I feel like I want to like this, type of writing that's so sort of full of itself. Maybe that really says it all, that I really do feel like most of the phrasing in here is just style over substance, although I do like, what is it? The night our friendship alchemized into love. I'll give you that one. I did like that one. But otherwise, I feel like she's dancing around the issue with these vagaries to try to say that, these feelings are so emotional or whatever. But unlike the other two stories, which this one also seems to be about a relationship, I assume what I can glean from this is a relationship with Laurie. They're at a club. They're listening to music while sitting at a table together, and that she might be responding to him as the music goes and his hand goes, that sort of thing. But it's also internal and interior, all of her thoughts. It's not about, most of it is not explaining anything specific or, detailed about what happened to them tangibly in the real world. It's all about her feelings and desires, and how there's authority figures that are telling her she would be immature, I guess, and this Tam person we don't know, but obviously that's not fair to be too judgmental about, not knowing him or her. Or I want to, I wonder if I read the whole story, I might have gotten more invested in this type of writing and understood it better, but certainly on its own, it really just doesn't stand up. There's just not a lot to intrigue you about what's happening on the page, because really it's all happening in this character's head, and it's just really too vague to be intriguing. It's interesting because sometimes I feel like I'm judging too much exposition in the other stories, like, well, this is a convenient show of exposition, but at the same time, it certainly makes the stories approachable and immediately interesting, whereas this one doesn't have that. So I think I'm going to set this one down. Book number 2 is Not Our Kind by Kitty Zeldis. Only a taste, and only when Wynne isn't around. She must love that, Eleanor enjoyed trying to picture it. How's she doing anyway, with her schoolwork and all? Really well. She's a bright girl. I wouldn't be surprised if she turned out to be a writer. Are Margot, you think? I do, Eleanor said. You just wait. You sound very sure of that. Tom handed her the drink. She's already shown a lot of promise. Eleanor sipped her drink. It was so good. Or did she feel that way because Tom had made it? Some of her compositions are first rate, as good as any student I've ever taught. Better, in fact. Oh, that's right. Trish said you used to be at Brandon Wythe. Eleanor nodded, hoping to discourage further questions. An excellent school, or at least that's what I hear. Why'd you leave? Mr. Bellamy, she couldn't call him Wynne, had asked her the same question. It was time to move on. Eleanor hoped her voice remained light and did not betray her. The song ended and Nat King Cole's Sentimental Reasons came on next. She jumped on the distraction, swaying her head and humming along to the music. Tom took another sip of his drink, set it down, and grinned at her. Shall we dance? He said. Clearly her ploy had worked. Pie forgotten, Eleanor set her own drink down and moved easily into his open arms. They danced without speaking for a few minutes, but the silence brimmed with sensation. Tom felt so different from Ira, tall, sinewy, with an expansive, easy way of moving. The song ended, and an announcer's unctuous voice came on, extolling the many considerable virtues of the latest model Chrysler. Tom let his arms remain around Eleanor, and she did not move away. So yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about from the last one, in that, or the opposite of the last one, because there was a little bit of exposition to explain Eleanor's feelings, but there was a lot of present action going on in this this page. We had a lot of dialogue, you know, people talking in real time, and then they were dancing in real time. So I feel like that's more compelling in terms of storytelling, although I do like me some exposition. And in this case, though, I'd quibble about it. There's not a lot of exposition, but I'd quibble about it because it's, I think the author is bashing us over the head a little too much with Eleanor's concern over this question about her past work history. I mean, I think the author tells us way too many times so bluntly, she doesn't want to talk about this, she doesn't want to talk about this. And I'm like, why couldn't you just go with, like, you know, Tom asks her about it, and then she immediately, you know, as soon as she can, you know, jumps onto the song to switch the topic. And if we just focused on that, or how quickly she jumped to the song, like, instead of answering, that would tell us with her actions that, you know, she is worried about talking about this and doesn't want to talk about this, without the author telling us several times in a row, oh, I'm so nervous, I don't want to talk about this. So I'm feeling very writerly, I think, at this page 112 tag in terms of my, like, thoughts on these pages. But yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting. We obviously have a character with a hidden past, and she has this interest, it seems, in this other character, Tom. You know, since we're in the middle of the book, there's a lot we just don't understand. We're in the middle of a conversation. We're talking about this character, Margot, and we can tell from the dialogue that she's Eleanor's pupil, and that we don't know how Tom, I think, fits into that equation. But yeah, so, you know, that part is, you know, confusing because we don't have the context, but it seems like it has promise for interesting character relationships, but I do want to quibble about, I guess, that one thing. Kind of just feels a little too pedestrian. And finally, book number 3 is Beyond the Pale by Alana Dykewoman, the only book coming from a non-used bookstore source. This is from Little District Books. I sucked in my stomach and got taller. I remembered vaguely Mama and Papa talking about the pogrom in Kantakusen a long time ago when I was 10. A pogrom is something I hope you'll never see. It's like a street full of men, like the one Hava bumped into this afternoon, yelling and beating up the Jews. Sarah looked down at her shoes. Does the paper say they're going to have one? The paper says that Jews killed a Christian boy to use his blood for Passover matzos. Ick! That's stupid. Yes, well, stupidity is the most dangerous thing on earth, and we live in very stupid times. So, now we're going to go home and talk about this with your father. We passed the statue of Pushkin at the entrance to the park. I remembered when it was put up, with bouquets of flowers arranged in the base. I wondered if Pushkin would have told people how silly it is to think Jews drank Christian blood. Who thought these things up? If anyone could make up a lie like this, maybe they drank the blood themselves. When Papa read the handbill, his skin turned the color of wax. I didn't think he could look more pale. We'll talk about it after dinner. Dinner was quiet and quick. Mama sent us to clean up, and she and Papa went into their room. Since the boys left, I didn't have to sleep behind the stove anymore, though sometimes I missed the private feeling I'd had behind my little blanket. Of course we could hear them anywhere in the house. When they whispered, I listened harder or walked silently to the wall of their bedroom. Isaac, I have a very bad feeling about this. Something terrible is going to happen. Always a feeling, never a fact. In the Talmud. Isaac, please listen to me. You know what happened in Shpol and in Nikolev. It's been 4 or 5 years. It was almost 20 before that. This is Kishinev, Miriam, not some little shtetl. Isaac, you know what this means. Papa got up and started pacing. I knew he knew she was right. The men respect you. Talk to the chief rabbi. maybe you can go to the mayor or to the police and find out what they know if they're prepared for this. So yeah, we're into historical fiction now, and it very much feels like Monday night quarterbacking sometimes when you get a scene where people are like, this is Kishinev, it won't be that bad. And you know that in fact the pogrom in Kishinev was horrible and is well known for being a horrible pogrom. And then I guess it also zeroes in the time frame of this historical fiction that it's probably somewhere around 1905 when that pogrom happened in Russia. It was a major one in a city, like as they're saying, this isn't some shtetl, you know, this is supposed to be a more cosmopolitan place where maybe, you know, rumors of Jews drinking blood won't, you know, surface, but it does. So, yeah, I mean, I'm always interested in, you know, this type of cultural reality. It's the cultural reality that my family came from when they immigrated to the US, where these sorts of anti-Semitic beliefs could be common. So I am intrigued. There were a few things on the page that kind of confused me. I guess it's, you know, the page 112 working in a way to say what could be improved on the page, because I don't know. I mean, well, it's nitpicky to say, like, we start with a first-person narrator, but then this other person named Sarah responds. So I guess they're two sisters talking with their mom in the park, I suppose. Another maybe nitpicky but less nitpicky thing is, like, you know, she goes from a sentence about how the narrator liked sleeping behind the stove, but we could hear her parents anywhere in the house, and I just thought that was kind of clunky, like we went from one idea to the next kind of quickly. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of making excuses, because I do feel like I would be very interested to read this, but I can only pick one book, or at least I should, because I have so much to read as it is this month. So I feel like I will be putting this one down, but we'll look forward to when I ultimately get to it. Well, the first thing I'll do in this case of making 3 separate conversations throughout the years jive with one another is immediately take one book off of the list. And I think I'm going to go with Evening by Nessa Rappaport. As I said in my clip, it's fairly hoity-toity. I think the writing's a bit full of itself, so it always, you know, comes in pretty low in my thinking. That leaves my choice between the 2 historical fiction books, Not Our Kind and Beyond the Pale. And I deliberately kept in the last little bit of this clip where I was like, we'll see when we read this book next, which I, you know, filmed a couple years ago, because I think the time is now. I am adding Beyond the Pale to my May TBR. You know, I talked a little bit about some quibbles I had, and, you know, maybe some of it's still accurate. I think when it comes to, like, trying to figure out who Sarah is, that's one of those things you have to, you know, just concede. Not knowing the context is just a thing. And what's more important is the conversation and the tension that Sarah and the narrator and so forth were involved in is what matters on the page. So I feel like definitely the story is the most intriguing, even if tragic, on this page. And I'm excited to finally get to it. All right, and now we're moving on into the Buzzwordathon. For some context, those of you on BookTube might be well aware that for years, Kayla from Books and Lala has been hosting Buzzwordathon readathons, where she takes buzzy concepts from, you know, recent publishing and puts it into a year-long read-along. And usually she'd be using buzzy title words, but this year, for the first time, she's done buzzy cover trends as well, which really works for me, and a particular book haul I did last September, which was called Raid the Shelves. It is an annual event put on by the Jewish Book Council, a website I practically live on, in their headquarters in Manhattan. Once a year, they open the doors to everybody and, you know, let us have our pick from all of the books they have on, you know, on hand for, you know, throughout the year. Anyway, it was such a big book haul where I got so many books, like 18, that I wanted a way to, you know, justify and get through reading a lot of them. As you can see from this graphic, I've been diligently going through it all year. We're, you know, a fourth of the way through 2025 now. And now we're on to the May pick. And for May, we're supposed to read a cover that features eyes on it. And so I decided to go with My Last Innocent Year by Daisy Alpert Florin. In a way, I feel like I'm pushing the envelope because, you know, her hair is in her eyes, so you can't quite see them. But to my mind, I feel like that, you know, accentuates the eyes even more, or draws attention to the eyes even more as we're looking at the hair over the eyes. So that is what I'm going to go with. And that about covers it for me now. I will leave the Goodreads links for all of these books mentioned listed down below, and information to the bookstores, and to my old playlist, my ever-growing playlist of TBR games. I play the page 112 tag monthly. I also play a quarterly game as well. I do enjoy doing some TBR games for a little bit of spontaneity, so I'll probably be sticking with these for a while. But expect me back here on this channel soon to actually talk about books I'm reading in May. Enough with the picking them, time to get to reading them. And I hope you are all enjoying your May reading as well. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.